when planning a trip to Hawaii, at some point for most people, the idea of island hopping will come up. Each of the Hawaiian islands are very different, and one of the best ways of solving the eternal question of which island to visit is to hop between them. And with basically zero options other than hopping on a plane or swimming, as there are no Inter Island Ferries, you are going to need to use one of the island's Inter Island flight services. These short flights are very different to most airline flights that you are likely used to, flying lower, slower and on smaller aircraft. So what's it like? We take a look at these short Inter Island hops with one of Hawaii's most popular carriers, Hawaiian Airlines. Even if you arrived on the island via Hawaiian Air, this will have been a more conventional flight, as it is a fair old slog from the mainland, but your inter-island flight will be quite different. On our latest trip, which you can see more about by clicking above, we took 2 of these hops as we travelled from Maui to Kauai and then Kauai to the Big Island. The beauty of these is there is no need to get back to your original island. We flew into Kahului on Maui, hopped over to Kauai, and then again to the Big Island, and then we flew back to the mainland from the Big Island. Our outward leg was on Delta as a standalone booking, and the return to the mainland was Hawaiian Airlines, with both inter-island flights on the same Hawaiian Airlines ticket. These cost $65 and $80 each, which are fairly typical, but can cost more or less depending on demand, but they are usually very affordable outside of busy periods. The whole check-in and airport experience is very different to most US airports. As you are inter-island, there is just less focus on aggressive security and immigration. All you need is a valid ID and boarding pass and you are allowed on the flight. While this is true for most US domestic terminals, they still have the feel of a full international airport. Here things are more relaxed as you are navigating the inter-island terminals. This goes as far as still having curbside check-in and bag drops. It's all just a bit more relaxed. These planes can't go much further than the other islands, even if someone wanted them to, as they just don't have the range. You also don't need to pass agricultural checks as you are still inside the island state. For Hawaiian Airlines members, bags cost an extra $15 for the first bag and $20 for each additional. This is pretty steep, but they need to keep the weight down on these smaller planes. It did limit the amount of luggage we brought though, as we had 4 additional flights, which would have cost us an extra $240 in total if we had brought 2 bags each instead of 1. Hawaiian Airlines only offered us self-check-in, but these terminals were really easy to use and we were off to bag drop and security in minutes. As the throughput for inter-island traffic is low, we always find the security line to be really short. Sometimes we basically walk straight into the scanners. At busy times, Hawaiian airports can really struggle to cope with the increased demand, but for inter-island it's always pretty calm. The airports themselves are really small, quaint and fast to navigate. There is not much to do in the terminals and the dining and shopping options very limited. Even at Daniel K on Honolulu, which is a much larger international airport, the inter-island Terminal 1 is still pretty small and basic. For inter-island travel, Hawaiian Airlines use the petite Boeing 717 aircraft. These operate a 5 abreast, free 2 seating, and are very basic in design. The seats are thin, plasticky affairs with very little comfort and next to no storage. And honestly, that's about it. There is just not much to say about the cabin, other than it's basic. It's far more akin to a bus seat than a plane. You're certainly not going to want to spend a long time here, which is fine because these are super short flights. We did one of the longest routes on offer from Kauai to Kona on the Big Island and it literally flew by. The scheduling is really nailed on, and these small island hoppers kind of act like they own the airport. The pilots and ATC operate these flights all day long and they literally jump in and out of the airports all over the islands. We hopped on board, they closed the doors, the ground crew instantly pushing us back. We taxied straight to the runway, did not even pause, and headed straight off to an immediate takeoff. There was no faffing at all on any of our flights. Same at the other ends, just straight onto the stand and off we went to get our baggage. As most people know, at airports there can be huge queues of planes and we have spent ages on the tarmac waiting for clearances and for stands to open up, but there was none of that here, no messing at all. The airborne portion is also really pleasant. The aircraft do not fly as high as most commercial jets. The 717 can handle it, they have a 37,000 foot ceiling, it's just not worth the fuel burn to get up to the heights just to come back down 5 minutes later. These are really short hops. This means you are afforded some really nice views. This depends a little on the side of the plane you are on, but the views of the islands are really nice. It can feel more like a sightseeing trip at times, with us flying over Lanai, Molokai, Maui, Honolulu, Pearl Harbor, to name just a few, and we got some great views of the volcanoes as we came down into Kona. Both flights thoroughly enjoyable and short. At most we were 45 minutes in the air, and that included the climb out and the descent. The in-flight service is pretty bare. There is no in-flight entertainment, no Wi-Fi, and while there is an in-flight magazine, we found these were often missing. The cabin crew provide just one service, and this is just a small pot of pog juice, nothing more. It really is bare bones, but as we said, the longest flight is 45 minutes, and that includes a climb and descent, so you are actually at cruise for just a few minutes at a time. There really isn't time for anything else. These are very utilitarian and are designed as nothing more than a way to get from Island A to B, which to be honest is exactly what we want. You really can be in and out of the airport in around 3 hours. We like to arrive a little earlier just to cover our bases, but it's a very quick process. Some people even use these services for day trips, which is a bit much for us as we like to get a bit more under the skin of an island, and that requires staying on it. But for the purposes of swapping islands mid-trip, they are perfect. The short flights and convenient departures are perfect for packing up on one island and hopping over to the next without losing a full day, still having some time to enjoy and explore your new surroundings. We hope this helps you understand the nature of these flights and how they can be used to connect different parts of your trip. We often fly into one island from the mainland, hop around once or twice, then fly out of another. There is no need to get back to the original island. These flights really are basic, but they do the job that they are designed to do perfectly, and long may they last. Thanks for watching. We still have some great Hawaii content coming up, and we've got our exciting next trip planned for early in the new year. So like and subscribe to the channel so you get all our latest content, and mahalo for watching.